Going on YouTube, Cloverbells here back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be talking about Urshifu Single Strike, not the Rapid Strike one, and that's because this one is ever so rising within the meta, and for good reason. If you just look at what Urshifu-Rapid Strike is currently struggling against right now, it's struggling against something like Ogerpon, and it's also struggling against stuff like Raging Bolt. Alright, so now what people are deciding to do is now let's use the other Urshifu, right, Wicked Blow Urshifu, and let's pair it with, Tailwind support, redirection, so this way we can still have these hard-hitting Wicked Blows. Let's put a sash on this, so this way we get a second lifespan out of it, and then from there we're able to do good, strong damage into a lot of different things, right? Now, again, you may not be able to do as much damage as something like, Surging Strikes from the other Urshifu, but dude, Terra Dark Wicked Blow does a ton of damage, especially into like bulky Flutter Manes. Let me just show you this calc over here for a second. Like, I was just doing, Jolly 252 set, and this is against like my typical Flutter Mane set with the 116, 196 bulk there, again, just to survive Chien-Pao Adamant stuff. It's one of the more bulkier Flutter Manes you'll be able to go against. And look how much Wicked Blow does, 81 to 95%, right? Now, you might say Urshifu with the Mystic Water should be able to pick that up with Surging Strikes, but again, I'm trying to account to not losing to Ogerpon or Raging Bolt as hard, right? And then if you just go Terra Dark for the way, again, now you end up picking up the KO against Flutter Mane, and if they for some reason have a more bulkier Flutter Mane than mine, then you can still pick up, right? Now, of course, granted, he has the option to go Terra Fairy, and that'll reduce our damage altogether, but again, we're still doing more than 50%, and we still have a sash here, so in all things considered, it's not like terrible. So we actually match up relatively well against stuff like Flutter Mane, for example, right? And now all of a sudden you start thinking, okay, now we can start really doing some big damage against those size spam teams with Iron Crown, especially if they don't even have a Flutter Mane on that archetype. Some of them do. Okay, you start doing great into those Latias King Gambit teams, right? Because again, you have a dark type for the Latias, you have a fighting move for the King Gambit, they're forced to terrestrialize, and if you just pair this with redirection, you can protect your Urshifu all together. And then, like I said, the Indeedee Iron Crown stuff, just punch the Indeedee, KO it, or even just force them to click follow me, and then from there, protect your Urshifu from the Iron Crown by just leading some kind of redirector, right? And we got the ideas for it, and then from there, look, again, it's just another strong breaker that you can have on your team that is not so weak to Ogerpon and the Raging Bolt. All right, so what we're gonna do is look at the kinds of teams that can really make good use of Urshifu Single Strike. And there's a lot of different teams. I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of different archetypes around right now that are doing really, really well with this idea of Urshifu Single Strike, supported with the Ogerpon redirection, for example, right? And we're going to show you a lot of those cores. We technically did one in the previous video when we had Farigiraf, Blood Moon. Okay, Farigiraf solves a lot of problems against Raging Bolt, so that, because you're denying priority with the electric move. But now, what else can we do besides Blood Moon, Ursaluna, and Farigiraf, right? So let's take a look at some of these teams. All right, first, let's look at Portland here. Let's look at Jose Vasquez's team. So he got a really, really strong top cut result within the Portland Regionals, and he was using Urshifu, with the sash here, and here's his Raging Bolt, here's Landorus, here's Ogerpon, Instant, and Flutter Mane. So look at this. This Fire Water Grass Core with Incineroar and Ogerpon is very important here because you have the redirection support, and you have the Intimidate and Fake Out Pressure from Incineroar, and then again, these are all things that are very useful to Urshifu to be able to do its job here. And then you still get speed control with the Flutter Mane here. I would imagine this is a Jolly set, not a Jolly set, a Timid set, so this way you have speed advantages in the mirror matchup. And then Landorus also here with Substitute, great into Trick 'em games. And then Raging Bolt with the safety goggles here is able to get around stuff like Amoonguss, for example. So I like this. So very balanced here. Fire Water Grass Core, a Dragon Fairy type. No Steel here, but that's okay. But this kind of team is exactly the way you can definitely use the Urshifu Single Strike here. So that's one version, okay? Then if we keep going and look at some other tours that were not in the regional, look at this one right here. So this one is the hyper offensive stuff with Tornadus, right? So Tornadus, Regidrago, Goldango. We're familiar with that trio, right? But now instead of the Surging Strikes Urshifu, now we have Urshifu Single Strike, and we accompany it with Indeedee and Ogerpon. So again, you stop the priority stuff against Raging Bolt, Chanpao, Dragonite, you know, with the Indeedee's shenanigans, and then you support with the redirection support with the Ogerpon, like we said. So now all of a sudden the Tornadus Regidrago idea looks really, really strong, especially with Goldango, because again, one way to really deal with Regidrago is to use a priority move, so this way Dragon Energy doesn't do so much damage. But now that you add redirection and psychic terrain to stop priority, Regidrago is looking really, really good on this type of team. And then again, Furgraph is also something that you can also use on a team like this. But, you know, that being said, again, you know, Urshifu very much just as much as Regidrago enjoys the support, that the Indeedee and Ogerpon can provide. So this is another archetype that you can use in terms of like hyper offense tornado stuff. Okay, then if you look over here, and again within the same tour, I believe the Meldy tour. All right, so again, German player Blue Glass VGC. So this is kind of the other way that you can use this. You can use this on a Trick Room team with Indeedee, Hatterene, Ursaluna, Torkoal with the Gallade and the Urshifu. We're familiar with this idea for Brian Collins a couple of regionals ago, but this is Stellar Choice Scarf Urshifu. So Scarf, again, able to outspeed the mirror matchups, especially, you know, again, doing a ton of damage with Stellar, but, you know, just having a good, strong dark type, you know, just against the fighting stuff is also going to be really, really good. So Urshifu makes a lot of sense on this type of team. Here's another way to utilize this. Then in the Martin Luther King tour, again, Arcali over here, 6-2 results, same idea, but, you know, again, just Landorus, Flutter, Ursh, Ogerpon-Wellspring Raging Bolt Instant. Is that the same as Jose Vasquez's team? I think it is. Yeah, it is. So again, we see it come back to fruition yet again. But look at this. The difference here is that Raging Bolt was safety goggles over here, but Arcali is saying, look, let's use Assault Vest Raging Bolt. We got no Rillaboom. We have nothing taking up our Assault Vest slot. So let's go with this Assault Vest with Thunderbolt and Snarl. And now all of a sudden you add Intimidate, and now you add the Ogerpon, and now all of a sudden the Raging Bolt gets even more difficult to remove, especially after Snarl, Snarl special attack reduction along with Intimidate. So this Raging Bolt is not going to be taking as much damage. You get to chip things with Thunderclaps and the occasional Thunderbolts, and then, you know, you have two breakers just waiting to come in and finish the job in Flutter Mane and Urshifu. So this is another cool way to utilize this. Again, same 6, just different sets in what you want to do, and it's a very, very familiar idea. I like this set. I think I may pick this up later on, but again, how about here? This is another another tournament preparing for the Charlotte Regionals coming up. Look at Katie's team. This is, again, another way that you can utilize this. But again, same idea. Here's the Indeedee. Here's the Ogerpon. Deny priority. Have redirection. No, this one is with Swords Dance. And again, just supporting the Urshifu Single Strike. Again, a lot of pressure with Tornadus. Landorus, again, also putting on a ton of pressure here with the Iron Crown. So again, just having good, strong physical hitters with, you know, redirection and tailwind support is going to be good, and it's going to be just fine here. You know, you got a lot of special attack damage already with Iron Crown and Landorus. So, you know, Urshifu, again, still doing well. And look at all these teams that Urshifu can be splashable on. And then if we just go back over here, not Katie. Now, if you look at Isaac's team, okay, another type of Urshifu. Second place, by the way. So this one has Tornadus, but this is the Glamora stuff. So now look at this. The idea here is the Glamora is able to, you know, deal a bunch of chip damage, really good into the Tailwind Mirror, start racking up those poisons, and then Flutter and Urshifu are just going to be able to come in and clean up. But again, here is the Ogerpon-Wellspring providing that redirection support, that the Urshifu very much enjoys. And here you can see Entei here instead of Incineroar. Entei also works on a team like this with Assault Vest, again, just giving that Fire, Water, Grass core that we very much enjoy. And again, just having these two breakers along with Tornadus hyper offensive stuff is really, really good. Then looking back here, now we look at Matty Moo's team, and now not Matty Moo, I'm sorry, right here, Plexi. This is the team that we kind of built the other day. So this is the Heartflame Ogerpon, and again, Heartflame has a little bit better of a redirection support than the, what's that thing called, the Raging Bolt, right? Because, you know, if you do terrestrialize it, you're not dying to Thunderclap. You know, at least it's a neutral hit. And again, you know, you still have Farigiraf here to deny set priority moves altogether. But this is the team that we made the other day. It's just that we had the Ogerpon-Wellspring as opposed to the Heartflame Ogerpon. But again, I feel like either or are still like pretty good. It just really depends on the player and how they want to utilize it. But again, this is again the other archetype that we showed in that video. But if I go back here, was there another Urshifu? Let me just look here. This one was more or less the same thing as our Kali. Oh, right here. So El Magician, again, now what if you wanted to run it on just like strictly priority stuff? Yeah, you can. Look, Dragonite, Chien-Pao, Entei. We already know what these three can do. Then instead of the Surging Strikes one, now you have, you know, again, the Dark Urshifu with Ogerpon-Wellspring. Again, another familiar Pokemon. Look, it's all about swapping out your Urshifu-Rapid Strike and slapping on Ogerpon-Wellspring with the Single Strike Urshifu. So now, all of a sudden, you got some good ideas here. You slap on your Fire type here with Entei. You got all this priority here with these 4 Pokemon and these hard physical attackers. And then, yeah, again, just Flutter Mane just comes in, clicks Trick Room potentially against some of those games, or just able to clean up in the end with choice specs here. Again, just protecting your Flutter Mane with Ogerpon-Wellspring, you know, just redirection and then just done a ton of damage with Dazzling Gleam or a ton of damage with Moonblast or Shadow Ball, and then let these guys come in the back and clean up. That's really the way you want to play these teams, okay? How about this one? The Florian Tour Volume, what is that, 8? Okay, do we see, this one is also pretty cool. Again, the one with Hisuian Arcanine, okay, I'll look at that first place team in a second. How about this one? This one, again, with Glomar, which we saw previously, but again, Hisuian Arcanine is still a good Pokemon, by the way. All right, if you don't want Incineroar, if you don't want Entei, Hisuian Arcanine still works, ladies and gentlemen. Why does it still work? Because Tailwind Rock Slide is busted against Dragonite Chien-Pao. Dragonite's weak to rock, Chien-Pao's weak to rock, okay? You're fine. This is also why Rhyperior is also rising in the meta. And then Rhyperior gives you a good matchup into Raging Bolt because you're a ground type. So stay tuned on our Rhyperior video. But again, Hisuian Arcanine still works. You get the Intimidate support, you get good damage, all right? And again, there's the Ogerpon-Wellspring, and here's the Urshifu Single Strike. Again, see, you see how team building works, guys? You just slap on these common cores, pick Ogerpon, pick Urshifu, all right? Get a fire type to get your Fire, Water, Grass core, slap on a Tornadus, Flutter Mane comes in, and this is your flexible slot. This could be anything, okay? Could be Indeedee for that matter, but again, Glomora also fits in relatively well here. So you see how this all works with common cores. How about the first place team over here? Living Large, Farigiraf, Iron Hands, Enamorous. Okay, Trick Room Sweeper there, Urshifu. Again, makes a look who's with them. Wellspring Ogerpon. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we've got all these ideas, right? So now you can see how very much splashable it is. And then even now, there's a tour happening right now, the Mouse Tour Anniversary Tour. I think we finally have a winner here. Oh, it's the Glomora stuff. Okay, so again, we just covered this, but makes a lot of sense, dude. It's a great team. If you wanted to use Urshifu Single Strike, use this, okay? And then if you look here, if there was another team, yeah, look, again, lore right here, lore 95. Was this the Assault Vest Raging Bolt? It was the Assault Vest Raging Bolt. So still the same thing that the other person was doing. But I like this idea a lot. And again, here's the Hisuian Arcanine. You see, Hisuian Arcanine is good. Okay, you just have to put it in the right team and not get stuck in, you know, new toy syndrome. Okay, so like Entei is good, Incineroar is good, Hisuian Arcanine is good, Chi-Yu is good, Heatran is good. Did I say Chi-Yu? Yeah. All right, these are all great fire types, okay? It just depends on what kind of team you want to use them on, okay? But Ogerpon-Wellspring is coming into everything, right? So we've got what we need. We've got enough data. So now let's go back into Team Builder and let's go ahead and construct this Urshifu Dark team. All right, here we are. We're back. And again, we're not going to change the formula. We're going to stick with what's proven and what's worked with others. All right, this is how you have good team building habits. Use what is working for others, borrow that, and adapt it to how you want to play it. All right, that's what we do. All right, we don't try to do anything crazy. We use what is proven. Okay, here we go. Ogerpon-Wellspring. Slap that on there. Give me a fire type. I like Incineroar, so I'm putting Incineroar. If you like Entei, if you like Arcanine, great, go ahead. But if you do use the Arcanine, you gotta put Tornadus here. I like Flutter Mane. Why not? Well, top 3 usage Pokemon. Slap it on there. I need some special attackers here. I got my Fire Word of Grass Core. I've got Intimidate. I got Fake Out and Redirection with these guys. Okay, and Urshifu is another breaker here. I need some special attack damage. Flutter Mane makes sense. Okay, give me Raging Bolt. Okay, another strong Pokemon. Give me Landorus. Okay, Landorus was great. Still great right now. Substitute is even better in Trick Room games. Okay, and then we'll just go with the Protect set. This is it. This is what I want. Like, this is what is proven. Okay, I've already did one with the Ursaluna, you know, Friggraph stuff. Now let's go with like a more balanced idea. And again, if we don't want Surging Strikes Urshifu, we're going with Urshifu Dart. We're going with the Ogerpon-Wellspring. We're putting on a fire type. Okay, and then from there, just give me some balance. I don't need Tornadus. Tornadus is great, but in terms of this, I'm cool with this. All right. So now we'll just round out the rest of the team. Ivy Cudgel. All right. Horn Leech. Follow Me. And Spiky Shield. Okay. Standard stuff. Incineroar. Let's go with Intimidate. I'll go with Citrus Berry. By the way, you can also go Assault Vest Incineroar here, by the way. Like, Assault Vest Incineroar is great, especially with an Adamant 116 nature. I got a cool set for you, right? If you do this with Adamant 116, okay? This is like right there. Yeah. Adamant 116. And then if you can technically just EV this, you know, just to be able to take the Earth Power from a Landorus-Incarnate. Okay, and then you have like some speed here. You know, this kind of Urshifu is going to do well. Not Urshifu, I'm sorry, Incineroar. Where you just have like Flare Blitz, Fake Out, then U-Turn, and then Knockoff, right? Like, this is a really, really good Incineroar set. I don't remember off the top of my head of this special defense investment. It might have been this, just to be able to live that Earth Power from the timid Landorus, but this is still pretty good. Like, I would just go Adamant 116 with a ton of HP, and that'll still work. But for the sake of this video, we're gonna just go with the Berry route. But again, Assault Vest is really, really good. Let's go Berry here. Okay, and let's go Careful Nature, of course, and just keep things relatively standard for now. So instead of U-Turn, we'll just have Parting Shot, and we'll touch upon these EVs in a bit. All right, let's just finish off the movesets from the rest of the team. Flutter Mane here. I like Choice Specs. That's just me. If you like Booster with Icy Wind, definitely go Booster, Protect, Icy Wind. But I like Moonblast, Shadow Ball, Dazzling Gleam, and Icy Wind. I think this is also really, really good. Then Terra Fairy over here. And then Incin, you can go Terra Water here against, you know, water shenanigans. Terra Dragon also works. And then Raging Bolt. I like Terra Water Raging Bolt just to resist the ice damage from Chien-Pao and make neutral damage from the Earth Power coming from an opposing Landorus. I like Safety Goggles Calm Mind. That's me. That's how I like to play my Raging Bolt right now. Thunderclap and Dragon Pulse. Now, wait a second. Dragon Pulse, Thunderclap. There we go. All right, and Landorus here, Earth Power, of course, and Sludge Bomb with the Terra Poison, ideally, right? And then here's the Life Orb, of course, more damage, and here's the Sheer Force. Great. So what do we got here? We've got Redirection. So that means we can set up the Raging Bolt with Calm Mind. That's good. We've got Urshifu being protected, again, you know, with this Redirection against a lot of priority things. That's good. The Incineroar gives you pivot potential with Parting Shot, as well as Fake Out, you know, just doing a ton of bad. Fake Out Wicked Blows is going to hurt. Okay. Flutter Mane also, again, giving us speed control here. Ton of damage. Great breaker. Raging Bolt. We already discussed. Landorus also very much enjoys Ogerpon-Wellspring because, again, we're weak to the Surging Strike Urshifu, right? So this will do wonders against that, and the Landorus is totally fine here, especially against Trick Room games where we can just click Substitute, and we're just totally fine. So in terms of EVs here, just straight 252, 252. I think that's all we really need out of this Ursh. The Ogerpon here, so we can go a couple directions here, but I just think, you know, just being able to survive Dragonite E-Speed is going to be good. So this is what we're gonna do. 228, 100 defense is what we want. Then 76 is gonna be okay here for the bump here in Adamant Nature. Now again, if you don't know what EV bumps are and you're trying to play competitive Pokemon, and you're trying to understand how to EV your Pokemon, you know, from scratch with these EV spreads, make sure you comment in the description below what are EV bumps. I will explain that to you. I will reply to you. I reply all the time. But this is how we always EV our Pokemon. You know, just in terms of giving us a damage calc that we want, and in this case it's the Dragonite E-Speed boosted by Chien-Pao. We have this bulk here, then we just go to the benchmark here in the attack stat. We get a little bit of defense here, special defense for the even number, and then the rest we can just jump into speed here. 142 is pretty good. The Instant here, again, even number for the berry. Let's hit the second benchmark with 156 and the Careful Nature. 1 point in the attack, a little bit of speed, you know, for the mirror matchup, potentially winning the speed mirror, and then the rest can just go into defense like this. Flutter Mane here, you saw my 116, 196 investment in terms of surviving the Adamant Chien-Pao Icicle Crash. We can also make this a little bit weaker in terms of bulk, just because I think a lot of Chien-Paos are going for Ice Spinner a little bit more this time around in this regulation, but until I see enough of it, I'm still going to settle with this. Timid Nature, of course. 189 will outspeed the Modest Mirror at max speed. They hit 187, so let's speed creep at 189. And we're still dealing a ton of damage with the choice specs here, so that's good. All right, Raging Bolt. I think I did calc it to live the Adamant Ice Spinner from Chien-Pao without terrestrialization. So that's going to be looking like Modest Nature here with 188 investment. This is for Rillaboom Grassy Terrain Recovery, and then the 68 investment is what's going to give us that damage roll, all right, against the Ice Spinner. Then we'll go 108, hitting a nice even number for our special attack stat because of Calm Mind, and then a nice even number here with 1 point in the special defense for that Calm Mind idea, and then the rest just goes here. 113. So 113 after an Icy Wind from Flutter Mane will be able to allow you to outspeed base 100s like an Entei, like a Chiyu if they are max speed. So we have that going for us. All right, and then the Landorus here, again, the Landorus, I just go Timid here. I just go Timid because I think, you know, the fact that you have 1 point faster than other Chiyus and other Enteis is important. So the fact that you can go for an Earth Power first and be able to KO him is huge. So that's the way I see it. All right, because you know, you can have all the damage in the world, but if you don't get to go first, then you are in trouble. Okay, and by the way, I do want to say that this 113 after an ICU will also outspeed this Landorus. If you just do 168 divided by 1.5, it comes out to 112, which again we outspeed, you know, with 113. So you can potentially get off a Dragon Pulse after an Icy Wind from a Flutter Mane. So if that means anything to you, great. It means a lot to me. So I went for that benchmark, and you know, you can outspeed a lot of other Raging Bolts. All right. So again, this is just like some general EV spreads here. With the Urshifu Single Strike here. So we're just gonna put this paste up here, and now what we can do is just at least show you a couple sample games, you know, some practice games, and then one best of 3 that we gave to one of our clients. So let's take a look at those. All right, this is indeed the Armor stuff with Trick Room Sweepers in the back, but again, Urshifu Dark with, you know, Substitute Landorus looks really good here. So that's exactly how I like to lead my stuff against these kinds of teams. You know, just punch through the redirector and set up the substitute on the Landorus here. So here we go. All right, now fortunately for me, he is Final Gambit Annihilate, so our Sash is intact, and then we get up the free sub, and he gets no Trick Room because we just punched the Indeedee, right? And that's pretty much it, because, you know, again, here's the Armarouge, but what is he really doing here with Armarouge and Araquanid? He's just forfeiting. This one is the Tailwind beat up stuff with Whimsicott and Terrakion, but again, look at the pressure that something like Landorus-Incarnate can do against a team like this. Look, instant drops to ground move. Goldango, same thing. Terrakion, same thing. And then you have Sludge Bomb for the Whimsicott, if anything. Like Landorus looks really good, especially if you're able to protect it with the Ogerpon, for example, especially if he's got Milotic here. So, you know, all in all, Raging Bolt could clean up in the end game, but as long as you just protect your Landorus, I think you're kind of fine. So here we go. Ogerpon's coming in. Here comes Landorus. All right. And I know I can live this because he has no Chien-Pao, which is what we calc for anyway. So here's the Follow Me. Now, fortunately for him, he crits me anyway, so I die regardless. But at the very least, I still get up my substitute. So now I have more pressure here with Flutter Mane coming in. He has to switch into Milotic, which means Dazzling Gleam, Earth Power into Dragonite just works. He does break my sub, but again, look at this damage. from Choice Specs, Flutter Mane, Terra Fairy, and then Earth Power just removes his Dragonite altogether. And Milotic has taken a lot of chip. Here's Goldengo. We always pin this slot with another D-Gleam and Earth Power. Like, even if you protected Goldengo and clicked an Ice move into my Landorus, it still would have been fine, because Flutter Mane still gets to stay on the field and do what it needs to do against Goldengo. Now Raging Bolt has all the pressure against Milotic, and there's not a whole lot he can do. Upper hand, sure, but again, what's that? You're not stopping Flutter Mane, because now we just click Dazzling Gleam. We remove the Terrakion, and he does have Miracle, but again, look at this. Now he just has nothing, and now it's a 2-on-1, and he can't really do anything from here. All right, this is a typical Side Spam team with, you know, Chiyu and Landorus, but he's got the wrong Indeedee. He has the male Indeedee, and, you know, this is going to be good in terms of how we want to play this. So I'm just going to go ahead and play here. So he goes into the Indeedee, our Iron Crown stuff, but again, we go into Urshifu and we go into the Ogerpon, okay? Just punch these things and just keep the Ogerpon intact with the special defense boost. He goes into Urshifu-Rapid Strike. That's fine, because we got an Ogerpon here. He goes Terra Fairy, but again, we're just chilling, okay? We Wicked Blow. He does protect his Indeedee. All right, Dazzling Gleam will get us the Sash, but again, this is why we have the Sash, and then we just bonk the other Urshifu on the head, okay? So now, all right, follow me, but he forgets his own Psychic Terrain, man. Like, that would never pick up anything. That would have just healed me. I would have preferred him to actually click that, but now he just goes into Chiyu, and now he's just in a bad spot, and he just clicks Forfeit. So Miggle here, we gave him the team, right? If you don't know Miggle, he's made a lot of our rentals. No, not a lot, but some of our rentals, and he's also top cut with a lot of them. So he volunteered to at least test out the team in best of 3, and this is his opponent. Typical Furgraph, Fire, Water, Grass stuff, but again, Urshifu Single Strike is also there, and he's got the Blood Moon Ursaluna with the Trickroom stuff. So, you know, it's interesting to see how he plays this. So here we go. He goes with the Ogerpon lead with Flutter Mane. Okay, so that's good, protecting the Flutter. There's the Rillaboom, and there is the Urshifu Rapid Strike, I should say, not Single Strike. So he switches into Raging Bolt. He protects the Ogerpon. Clicks U-turn. Of course, it goes through because, you know, he protected in front of Ursh. There's the Blood Moon, and there's the Wood Hammer. So he didn't want to die to that. You know, again, Flutter Mane, you know, just not wanting to take that, but Raging Bolt can. So he goes back into Instant. He intimidates the Ogerpon, which means the Ursaluna is going to have a great chance to live here. But our Incineroar is going to be able to intimidate the Rillaboom, which is now in Sin. But Horn Leech doing a little bit of chip damage into the Blood Moon Ursaluna, not a whole lot. Hyper Voice is just too much damage in all things considered, especially with that Life Orb and Intimidate not doing anything. But at the end of the day, you still have Flutter Mane coming in here. And again, he goes into Rillaboom, just preserving. But Dazzling Gleam is good there. Okay. Parting Shot was going to go into the Blood Moon. He goes into Raging Bolt instead. And Parting Shot also goes into our Flutter Mane. You see how good Incineroar is, you know, just being able to reposition with Parting Shot and weakening the opponent here. This is how you're supposed to use Incineroar from both players. So back into Instant on our side, and he goes, and then we protect here, so that's good. Fake Out as expected, and there is the Blood Moon going into Instant. That should pick up, and it does. So unfortunate there. Okay, but you know, we still have Raging Bolt and Flutter Mane coming in here. So let's see what we can do. He goes back into Instant, probably looking for that fairy neutral damage here. Terra Fairy Flutter looking pretty good. So Thunderclap, of course, doesn't work there against the Ursaluna. Dazzling Gleam, not enough to pick up the Instant, and that's unfortunate because that would have been game changing. But instead, there's a Fake Out. We can't protect. We do get Thunderclap, but again, not enough damage into the Ursaluna. And Blood Moon is just able to remove the Flutter Mane, and that pretty much will wrap up game 1 here. So Miggle did his best, but not picking up the Instant there kind of hurt him a little bit. But let's see the adjustments into game 2. All right, so let's see what Miggle does in game 2. So he led Ogerpon last time. Now it's going to be Instant and Raging Bolt. So Fake Out, Calm Mind, it could be a thing. There is the Rillaboom. Here is Flutter Mane here. We get a nice Intimidate on the Rillaboom. Could expect a switch here, but there's the Terry Flutter looking to do extra damage right here. Terra Ghost Instant is something that Miggle's been playing with, so that's what he wanted to do. All right, and again, here we go, Dazzling Gleam, but Parting Shot into the Flutter Mane is huge. And again, we protect the Raging Bolt, not wanting to take that damage. Ogerpon gets in a good position here, and he goes Instant to intimidate the Ogerpon. That's fine, because we're going to go back into our Instant to, again, just weaken that damage that he's going to be ending up doing. Citrus Berry, of course, coming out here. Ivy Culture, good damage into Flutter Mane despite being intimidated. All right. And now let's see what Miguel does. So back into Rillaboom here, not wanting to lose the Flutter. Spiky Shield, good protector, but again, parting shot into whatever was coming in. So smart idea there. There's the Raging Bolt. Knockoff, removing our goggles, but that's okay. There's no Amoonguss here. All right. So a little bit of recovery. We go back into Instant. Again, more Intimidate cycling, especially against Rillaboom. Another protector, not wanting to take big damage. There's the Fake Out there. Again, I would have probably just tried to set up a Calm Mind there just in case he did that. But here's the Blood Moon. All right, so here we go. It's putting pressure on the Raging Bolt. But here's the Instant. Again, another cycle with the Intimidate. But here's Calm Mind. Again, we get to go first. We're faster. We're faster than the Ursaluna. So now he's -1. We're +1. So this is good. All right, Earth Power. We should live this, and we do because our Bolt is bulky. So that was the benefit of Calm Mind and the parting shot there, right? So Fake Out again. All right, but Dazzling Gleam does pretty good damage. All right, and he goes for the Hyper Voice, which we do live, by the way. All right, because he is -1. Thunderclap is good damage into Instant. Dazzling Gleam again. Ursaluna does live, but that's still okay. Blood Moon, not able to pick up the Flutter because we have the best EVs in the world. And Flutter Mane still hangs on, which is huge because now we have the ability to protect and also switch out into Instant and preserve the Flutter for another day. All right, so Miguel's in a good spot here in game 2. And now the Instant can do stuff that it needs to do. Like, even though the Instant drops, that's still fine because now our own Flutter can come back in. We have priority, okay? And we're +1, so down goes the Flutter. That's great. All right, and the Rillaboom has to pick one. He goes Grassy Glide to Raging Bolt, but that's not enough. I think our opponent kind of threw there. But there's the Moonblast there, and now it's looking pretty good. Miguel has a 2-on-1 advantage, and of course, he forfeits game 2. So now on to game 3. All right, now on to game 3. Let's see how this ends up being played out. So Instant and Bolt is the lead yet again. Here is Rillaboom, and here is the Flutter. So another good Intimidate coming out from the Incineroar. See how Incineroar has been great for both of these teams just in terms of pivoting and positioning. This is exactly how you're supposed to use from Incineroar. So good job from Miguel and our opponent for being able to use Incineroar very well. There's the Citrus Berry having good value. And now the Bolt probably could have even done something, but now we have to kind of reposition the Raging Bolt here. So here's Terra Water. All right, Thunderclap looking pretty good there. And there is the Moonblast. Instant does get removed, unfortunately, but all right, all is not lost because again, we have our own Flutter now and there is the Fake Out, but again, our Flutter is going to take this Moonblast and we're going to go right back him with the Moonblast. So our Flutter is able to beat his Flutter just because that other Flutter was chipped enough, whereas ours was still very, very healthy. And now he goes into Rillaboom. So we're going to switch out the Flutter into Ogerpon, preserve the Flutter, not die to Grassy Glide. Of course, protect the Raging Bolt just to be safe. There's the Glide damage, and there is Parting Shot that is going into the Raging Bolt protect. So good there. And now the Ogerpon can redirect everything, or we can just go for the instant kill right here, right now. And there is the Dragon Pulse, a little bit of chip damage. Rillaboom going for the Wood Hammer does remove the Raging Bolt, but that's a lot of recoil, honestly, right? So still fine. Okay, 2-on-2. All right, here's the Flutter. No more grassy terrain. Ursaluna's a sitting duck here. Moonblast able to pick up the Rillaboom, and Ogerpon also able to bop the Ursaluna on the head. And he goes for Blood Moon, and the Ogerpon does fall, but that means the Flutter will outspeed the Ursaluna and will be able to clean up here. So great job after game 1 from Miguel, able to, make some adjustments and understanding Incineroar as a lead, just to weaken the opponent first and position a little bit after that was great. And that's how you want to utilize this team. All right, folks, so there is our Urshifu Single Strike team. Give it a go. Let us know how you do. Feel free to make adjustments as you see fit. Like Miguel has been using Terra Ghost Instant, for the Fake Out Wars. I still like Terra Water, but if you want to make set adjustments, feel free to do that. But at least we gave you something to start with the Urshifu Single Strike. And we showed you a lot of different team compositions that you can really utilize the Urshifu Single Strike. So this is one of them. And again, if you need help with coaching, if you're trying to go to Knoxville or need a last-minute session for Charlotte, feel free to message us on Discord. Apply with the tier 3 sub to the channel. If you look in the video description below or in the pinned comment section, you can click the link and join the channel with the tier 3 sub. And then we can get a one-on-one session via Discord. together and see if we can help you plan for your upcoming regional or another online ladder tour, or just something for, you know, ladder in general. If you need help with a regulation F team, and we'll build a team, you know, just like this from scratch. All right, but we'll be back with another video. And the next time, guys, peace out and have a good one.